brilliant. Won't be me, but
You caught me in mid bite of my sandwich for lunch, so it took me a while to answer. Go ahead, Karabath.
I think most of our records have the 3x fields. Oh no, that's not true. But I'm also working on a project where I'm updating all of the old WLN records that are still in our system to the OCLC, and and I'm doing it like record by record. I thought about having just going through OCLC and having them do the whole thing, but I'm finding an amazing number of records in our catalog that that aren't tagged in OCLC. So, and I don't know what's going on with that. So,
am I
George and I can
remembering?
tell you about.
Yeah, I was like,
records,
I
man.
feel like there was a discussion about this.
Yeah, George and Chris and I did this whole big, huge project at the start of the pandemic. We had something like I think it was like 40,000, 60,000 WLN records that maybe we had holdings for some of them in OCLC and maybe we didn't, but like we didn't have OCLC numbers. And so yeah, so we went through this huge big project. And kind of tied that in with the OCLC free streamlined holdings update when we were done with it. But for the WLN stuff, back when OCLC bought WLN, they came up with this little program that like you can run off a thumb drive. That it has this database running in the background that you can't get to, but what you can do is you can put in your WLN record number and it will spit back the OCLC record number that OCLC matched it up with back in 2000.
yeah, you sent that to me, Kirsten,
Okay.
and I use it from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it's for, I use it for things like State of Washington reports, that don't, like, there's no ISBN number or whatever to search in OCLC. So it's helpful for that, but otherwise I don't always pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that some of this like OCLC stuff, Kirsty, did you also go to the homemade reclamation project?
I was at something else, so no, but
okay.
I want to look at the report.
Yeah, so my impression was that that kind of fetching of information, there might be a script out there that works with the OCLC API. And then hold on, let me look at my notes of what this session said. Yeah, and nothing in this process that was using the APIs to like match things included something about norm rules. But there was some other stuff I went to that talked about it. Oh, indexing based on full text. The 960 field. We might also see if there's anything with related records that we could do with norm rules. I don't know. Do we want to like take a few weeks and because I think our next meeting's canceled because I'm out of town and then it'll be summertime. But do we want to take a couple of weeks and kind of like look through some of the norm rule projects documentation that is at like the Ex Libris what is it, the dev network examples, and see if there's possibly something that we would like to apply from this website. Because I'm always happy to like help with the coding, but I'm not a cataloger, so I don't really like necessarily know where the issues are that need to get fixed.
Yeah. Well, and there's also the question too of, is a particular library doing the approach of we're updating from the WorldCat record when that changes, or is the library saying we're updating local copies of the records and we're never updating from WorldCat, because they're two different processes. And Seattle is definitely going with the we just update from the WorldCat records and we do not deal with the metadata editor at all. But I know that's not what other folks do. Yeah, so like if we were trying to update, subject headings like the illegal alien subject heading that got changed, we would simply do it by bringing in new records from WorldCat. We wouldn't be trying to do a norm rule that would update. But other libraries might want
to do that. Yeah.
George Carbeth, what?
I'll just say that at Highline, that's one of our ongoing projects, is to, make subject headings more inclusive and whatnot. So, and we would probably be going through a norm rule process to do that.
Well, maybe we could look in the there's the ones we did before. Maybe we could look back in listserv discussions and maybe see if there was something to do with like inclusive subject headings. And then if there were, then we could figure out a specific problem to tackle.
Do you have a running list going anywhere, George, of like these are the things that we want to update?
If we do, Nyoko has a hold of it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I just know this project is been waiting for us for a while, and we never seem to get to it.
Yeah, that's part of why I just said no. We're just doing the regular World Cat Record updates. Um,
It's alternative.
there's shoot. There's somebody I follow on Twitter who's one of the big critical cataloging folks, and I'm trying to remember her name. And she's done a lot of work with funnel groups and things like that to get subject headings updated.
Mm, This seems like a place where such a resource list might exist. Mm,
Violet Fox, that's her name.
let's see what.
Ooh, go to that cataloging lab link.
This one?
Go down one more.
Oh. So okay. Mm, This would be like Japanese American subject headings, I would think would be pretty common in our libraries. So this might be an interesting one to explore. Because it looks like this was only proposed 2 years ago. And so if you're using WorldCat stuff, then it's probably been updated. But if you're not,
Right.
then this is one that wouldn't have
Yeah.
been.
And if you're not updating through WorldCat and you're not using the headings authority function, or like there's some authority function in Alma that will update subject headings as Library of Congress subject headings get updated.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many of us are using that feature at all. I'm pretty sure we're not at Seattle.
I'm just wildly curious about these now. Um, Well, how would you guys like to proceed? Do we want to like find out if, like doing some subject heading changes would be useful to people? Do we want to do something else that might be more broadly applicable? Victoria has just joined us. Maybe she has ideas because one of the original ideas for a project, Victoria, we're trying to brainstorm what our next project might be. And I believe that you had proposed something about ebook fields.
Oh, yes. And sorry for being late. It's been in the 80s here inside the library. So
Ooh.
yeah. But yeah, let me see if I can find there it is, my sticky note. Make a normalization rule with 336, 337, 338 for those 3 fields for ebooks.
And what are those fields?
I don't remember what they're called.
Content, is that?
Content, media, and carrier type. So this might be a good one because this is this is about creating multiple fields. And our last project was about changing 2 existing fields. So it's kind of like a little different set of Cody deals. Yeah,
Oh, Carly, before I forget, so on the last project, since I missed that April 19th meeting, like, do we have something written down somewhere that says, if you need to update your
that's what I'm
records, records for equipment, so that they represent equipment and not print books,
or whatever
you need for that? Like, do we have that actually documented, what the exact norm rule is?
No, that's what I was supposed to work on post April 19th was to take all of these like meeting notes and basically like clean up the steps and do some screenshots and like create that documentation. And I had been like, yes, I'll make this documentation and then I'll share it back out to the group and we can like look at it.
So that's still in the works.
Okay.
Because that's really the useful part, huh?
Right, yeah.
For the long term.
And I'm thinking like maybe end up with, here is a shared norm rule, and then have instructions for,
How
do you need to change your bib records? This is the name of the shared norm rule you need to use to do it.
Yeah, so here's the other thing that's interesting. Wade had a folder in here with norm rules, and so I'm wondering if another project might be because here's like subject headings replace rule. So like maybe another project is for us to go through these, and in addition to just having this rule, we like figure out what the heck it is and describe like when and where it would get used and how to use it. Because then we would take all of this stuff and we could test it too. Because LDS, that was, I remember that has something to do with
Oh, yeah.
display, a local display field.
Yeah, so this is a primo norm rule that will take something that shows up in a record display and
And
make it display as something else.
yeah, so like we have all this great stuff here sitting, and yet there's no like accessible documentation on the website that puts these various rules in any kind of like instruction chain.
Well, yeah, and I'm thinking back to when this discussion happened, and so that particular subject heading, the right-wing conservatives in Congress got all head up and they passed a law which told the Library of Congress that it couldn't change a subject heading for
Right.
a certain number of years. And so this conversation was going on during that period of time when the Library of Congress by law was not allowed to change the subject heading. And so we had a couple of meetings where we were talking about, how do we want to deal with this? Do we create our own local subject headings? Do we change subject headings manually inside the bib records? Do we have some kind of rule in Primo that just changes how things display? So I'm looking at this
that's what
and
it
I'm thinking
was.
that's what that was. That time period has now expired, and the Library of Congress has updated the language in a whole bunch of subject headings.
Surely there's new ones though that are,
Oh yeah, like they're
like under
yeah.
discussion that, this could be used
Yeah.
in the meantime. But yeah, like this sitting here, if I link to this folder from our website, who would, like, this is not helpful. Like, there's literally no instructions. It's just the rule.
I'd look at that and go, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe we do, because I feel like the creating the 330s could go pretty quick. And then we'd be able to, like solve that for Victoria and anyone else. And then maybe we could tackle some of what's in here to see what the heck it is and then make it available. Does that sound kind of?
Yeah, some of those things are Primo rules, Primo norms about how to futz with your display, not metadata editor norm rules that are all about how do we change something inside the bib record.
Well, and I know that who was it who was like, oh, I need indication rule stuff. Like, I'm like, is this group going to, like, do we want to stick more specifically to big bib record norm rule changes, and do we leave Primo display norm rules work to the Primo customization group?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
um. So okay, that's a Primo V. That's a Primo V. Are all of these? So this is an actual replace. That's obviously Primo V. So there's really only one in here that's not straight up a Primo V one. So maybe that's not even necessary then. The tackling the one bib record normal. What was the name of that one? Subject headings replace rule. Nope. Share.
Clerk's gonna be here in about 10 minutes, but it's 2:30. I don't know if we're gonna get close to the girl.
Yeah, let me see. When's our next meeting too? It would be, yeah, so that one would probably be canceled since you're up. Yeah, so June 14th are okay, so um shall we say we review documentation of work already completed, tackle the ebook creation of fields, and then maybe come with some new ideas for next projects? Because a lot of the norm rules work, because I was looking for ideas on the Orbis Cascade site, and a lot of their stuff has to do with like network zone. So it's not the same kind of work at all.
And the ebook one, creating the fields, that one, I have one that's for print books. So basically, so it's not too much. It shouldn't be too hard to change it
Adapt
to, yeah, to adapt it for ebooks.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a good goal. And if I've actually got the documentation of the last stuff, then we can spend a bit of time going over that and making sure it makes sense as well. And that should give us you know, actual work to do at the next meeting. And June 14th, I don't know how many of our group is not on contract in the summer. So it kind of depends on that as well. Okay, okay, I'm gonna put a note here. And then this needs like a double star of Carly do this. Okay. If this looks good, since things are busy all around, we will go forward with this plan and I will really work on the documentation so that we can keep moving forward. And then maybe there will lightning strike of idea will get us going on something after June 14th. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. I have a appliance repair person apparently showing up in the next 10 minutes. So before things get crazy outside my office door, I will let you guys go and then I will, I think I even started the documentation document and just then got distracted by Iluna. So yeah, you guys have a nice month. And if I don't see you on a Tuesday or Thursday in the next week or so, we'll see you in June. And I'll send an email out to the group because I did have a couple people tell me they just couldn't make it today. So we've not necessarily lost participants, just had conflicts. Okay, well, I'm gonna